front benches at 10:37. Perhaps the two gentlemen could split the time between them and we can get everybody in about 7 or 8 minutes. Jonathan Gullis.
Thank you very much, Dame Maria. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and I may first of all declare my interest as someone who was a teacher of RE, although not a specialist, I must confess, which will upset maybe some in this room, but also my partner is actually a head of religious education as well. So, of course, you can understand the lobbying that took place in home before attending the debate today. But first, I also congratulate my honourable friend on his return as the Minister for School Standards, someone that, whilst I never had the honour of following directly, although I told him that was my lifelong dream, to be replaced by him is something that I'm more than happy to take, because I do think he is one of the best ministers since 2010 that this government has had, and actually a lot of the Gove-Gibeon reforms, as I always refer to them as, has meant that educational standards have dramatically improved in this country. As someone who works on the front line for 8.5 years, seeing that firsthand, I want to thank him for all his work and his now continued work in this area. RE is a compulsory subject, and it blows my mind to this day that whilst it's compulsory, there are schools not delivering that until the age of 18, as is meant to be the case. And because of that, therefore, there is a real watering down on the quality and the take-up of this subject in schools, and I've witnessed that firsthand myself. And I suppose that the postcode lottery term is perfect for this, because I've worked both in London and in Birmingham and other parts of the country as a secondary school teacher and seen firsthand the impact that that has had in terms of the pupils wishing to go forward. Somewhere it was made pupils to take part in it, somewhere it was an option. And it's therefore really sad to see that that take-up is low, which is obviously why we're seeing a driving down in recruitment figures, because it's quite clear that teachers who maybe want to come into, or people who want to come into teaching, Dame Maria, particularly for RE, don't feel this is a subject that is valued within our curriculum. Now, whilst I am broadly supportive of a national plan, a national standard, I would suggest, for RE teaching to make sure that there is an equalisation across the country, I do think there's one easier way to really put RE on the map, something I know the Minister does disagree with me on, and I dare to utter it. But if we put RE into the EBAC and made sure that this was given the same status as history, as geography, because we know many in RE department now sits within the humanities department of a school, and therefore does feel like the ugly duckling in that department when it's not the only one that doesn't go in the EBAC pot. That this could have a really positive impact on making it a subject that is worthy of being taken by pupils and parents and given the status that it requires to be in schools. And that will have a positive impact, therefore, on recruitment figures, as well as take-up of the subject into GCSE and hopefully post-16. I think this is something that we should be looking to do and will be going forward. When it comes to recruitment figures, Dame Maria, I must confess that I was the minister who signed off the latest round of bursaries and scholarships, and do accept that RE was not on that list. And that is because, for good reason, physics and other subjects like geography, where we are seeing also under recruitment in, have highly competitive professional wages in the private sector. On top of the £30,000 a year starting salary that we're committed to delivering as per our manifesto, we had to give those bursaries in those subjects, particularly in physics, where you're now getting £29,000 for a scholarship there, in order to drive up recruitment there. But however, had I had longer than my 50 days, I would have made sure that in the future I would like to have seen RE and would have looked to make sure RE was included in those figures going forward. We've reintroduced the bursary in English. It'd be good to see that happen in religious education as well, something I will certainly support from the backbenches. And whilst I don't think you need to be a specialist to teach RE to a high quality standard, of course I'm biased, Dame Maria, I was someone who did that myself, I do think that the more specialist teachers you get in a subject will always improve the educational outcome and attainments, because obviously there's no one better than having a passion. When I was trained in citizenship, obviously I'm interested in politics, therefore I was able to deliver, I believe, with the passion and gusto that I could in those subjects. Just like my partner who did philosophy at university is able to go into the school and deliver incredibly high quality religious education teaching. Again, my bias, Dame Maria, I do accept, in her ability to teach, is because of that passion that she has for her subject area and that deep knowledge that she's gained through her degree. So I do think that the more we can do to drive up specialisms, the better that is. But hate crime, radicalisation are real threats, and in Stoke-on-Trent we know this firsthand. The attack from Fishmongers Hall was a man from my constituency, someone who'd been radicalised within Islam. Not that Islam is a radical religion, let's not forget, it's a faith that says to kill one human is to kill all of mankind. But sadly there are those who push a perverse ideology within every faith. And we see that also on the far right within the great city of Stoke-on-Trent, who sadly are pushing a white nationalist agenda. And if we don't have high-quality religious education alongside the fantastic prevent work that's undertaken by the City Council, police and Stoke-on-Trent City and by our local schools, then how are we ever going to really tackle the misunderstandings, the misteachings, the perverse ideology that's pushed particularly onto young people? That's why it's so important we get RE education right and make sure that young people understand and challenge their misconceptions. And most importantly of all, we accept that faith schools have an important part in our system. We even allow some schools to select by faith. The idea, therefore, that we would not push RE to be a compulsory subject taken up properly in the school system, to me, seems a bit of an oxymoron and challenges what we're already saying in other areas. So I do hope that work at schools like St Wilfrid's, St Mary's and St Thomas's, all within Stoke-on-Trent, North Kidsgrove and Talk, to give a high-quality faith-based education alongside, obviously, a high-quality curriculum, rigorous curriculum, as the Minister would want and demand, which I fully support him on, is something that we should therefore really be pushing. So I hope that today we've sent a very big signal. This is definitely a cross-party effort and feeling. And I think the gentleman from Plymouth and Sutton and Devonport, I hope I remember that correctly, gave a fantastic speech. And his idea that every government, every party should commit in their manifesto is something I will certainly be pushing within the Conservative Party come the next general election. Thank you, Dame Maria. Yeah.